Hey guys, Andrew from Modelflight here and welcome back for another RC update video. I've had some awesome stock roll through the door, including this beautiful RV8 from Flex Innovations. Let's get into it and show you what we've got. The all-new RV8 from Flex Innovations is a fantastic scale model with some impressive performance for the type of aircraft that it is. This comes in two versions, a night version and a day version. This happens to be the night version, which has LEDs on it, so you can actually do night flying with this if you want to. There's also a day version without the LEDs. It is an ARF. It will require you to add a battery, charger, transmitter and receiver. For the receiver side of things, you have a few options depending on what brand you choose to use. If you're a Spectrum user, you could use like an AR8010T hooked up via the serial port. You could also use satellite receiver plugged directly into the flight controller. Speaking of flight controller, it does come with the Aura flight control system from Flex Innovations that is pre-tuned for this airframe, so this aircraft flies fantastically. On the battery side of things, you're looking at a 6S battery for this aircraft. It comes pre-installed with metal geared high voltage servos throughout, and the assembly time is really quite minimal, and it's a fantastic looking scale aircraft. So super excited to get out and fly this. First car we're going to go through today is the all-new Losi Tenacity SCT. This car comes in two fantastic livery finishes. We have out the Fox version. There is also a Method race wheel liveried car, which is the other body scheme option. This does come as a ready to run, but you will need to supply a battery and charger. The car comes outfitted with Spectrum radio gear. It's a Spectrum STX2, really nice radio, has a throttle limiting function for beginners, as well as dual rates, trims, all the standard fare. So a fantastic radio. If you are a beginner, you can turn the power down. Speaking of power, you have a few options with the battery for this car. The ultimate power option would be a 2S LiPo, something around 5,000 milliamps would be ideal. You can also go with a 6L NiCad for a little bit less power. With this car as well, it does come with a Dynamite electronic system. It is a brushed car, so nice and basic there, but also on LiPo it's going to give you a fair bit of performance as well. It is a four-wheel drive car, so much easier to drive than a rear-wheel drive on, let's say, loose surfaces like gravel or BMX tracks. One neat feature of this car is it does have a bottom-loaded battery system, which means you don't need to remove the body every time you want to change battery. Simply flip the car over, drop the battery hatch on the base, and insert a new battery. Like I said, it is a Dynamite electronic system, brush motor, Dynamite ESC. A nice feature on the Dynamite ESC is that it does have a little jumper cable here. That's for setting up whether you're running nickel metal hydride or LiPo batteries. If you're running NIM, obviously put it in the NIM spot. If you're running LiPo, put it in the LiPo spot. It'll give the ESC a low voltage cutoff, which means that you're not going to overdraw the LiPos and cause any damage to them. And then completing the Spectrum electronics is a Spectrum steering servo. High torque, going to do the job and keep the wheels pointing in the right direction. The Losi 22S is a brand new release for a ready-to-run two-wheel drive stadium truck. Now this car again comes in two livery options. We have the MagnaFlow version, which we have out here to show you, and then also there's a Kicker styled livery body as well. This is a two-wheel drive short course truck, so a fantastic option for really getting into racing and bashing around at parks and BMX tracks and things like that. This is a ready-to-run car, but again you will need to supply a battery and a charger for that battery. For the battery option, you do have the choice of nickel metal hydride, or you can go with a 2S LiPo for ultimate performance. The electronic system in this is Spectrum radio and receiver, Spectrum servo, and it has a Dynamite speed controller and motor. Again, the speed controller has a jumper for you to select LiPo or NIM, depending on what battery style you're running, so the car can take both. But obviously if you buy a charger, you want to buy one to suit your battery. One of the biggest things is the bottom-loaded battery mounting system. Again, you don't need to remove the battery remove the body, to change batteries. You can simply load it in from the bottom of the car. Makes that nice and quick and easy to do your battery changes. This car is inspired from the Losi 22 series, so it does have like race and championship winning heritage, and therefore the geometry and a lot of the parts from the 22 line of short course trucks will actually fit this car. So if you do want to get into racing, this would be a great way to start, and then as you move along and get better and want to upgrade the car, you're able to upgrade this with a Losi 22 race inspired parts, so aluminium shock towers, better shock absorbers, things like that as you continue your racing journey and get better. A brand new release from ECX is the Tempered Gen 2. This is a revision and a redesign on the original Temper, which was a super popular 1/18 scale rock crawler. Probably one of the first things you're going to notice is the styling of the car. Super aggressive cab styling with matching wheel rings to the colour scheme. Obviously there is two colour schemes, the blue and the yellow. Metal chassis rail construction, 4-link suspension. The articulation on this car is actually really impressive for the size. The amount of movement and the obstacles that you can actually get over are much larger than you probably think it can do. One of the other things that jumps out at you is the full-size servo in this car. It has a much larger servo mount, which they've improved to be able to take essentially full-size standard servos. This is a low-profile servo, but as far as width and torque spec, you can put a full-size low-profile servo in there. The servo that's included is a Spectrum unit, more than adequate of holding the wheels, enough torque and metal gears to basically get you pointing in the direction you need to be going. This is a ready-to-run car, so it does include battery and charger and transmitter, so everything's in the box, ready to go. A fantastic option for a car that you can do some crawling in your backyard, or you can take out, can do some pretty gnarly obstacles, and looks good while doing it. To go along with the body styling, this car does include an LED light bar, so crawling at night is now an option. You can kind of have a light bar to set that up, provide some light, and go out and have some fun at night with this car. Two products from Proboat that have arrived back into stock, the River Jet Boat and the Velas 29. Both of these are RTR, but you will need to supply a battery and charger for them. Battery for the Velas, you're looking at 6S. The boat can do approximately 50-ish mile an hour, so it'll work out to about 90 kilometers an hour on 6L, so a super high performance boat. And the River Jet Boat's a really nice bit of gear. It's actually got a jet propulsion system, not a propeller hanging out the back, not a rudder hanging down. That means that you could actually use the boat in much shallower water than you could with a conventional boat with a rudder and a propeller hanging down. So it opens up a bit of scope for smaller lakes, shallower water, and just basically more places that you can have fun and use it. Both super popular units, both back in stock. Thanks for joining us again today, guys, for another RC update video. Hope you've liked the stock we've been able to share with you today. If you would like any more information on any of the items that we've gone through, please check the link in the description below. You can always head to our website, give us a follow on social media, and as always, like and subscribe on YouTube. We'll see you next week.